Hey!
And welcome to Lyto. We're back after a break, but we're back with all the batteries charged and with a lot of news.
Exactly.
Actually, it's been happening a lot of interesting things, so let's start right away.
Back with your favorite show, Lyto News.
So we start with Facebook. They announced the announcement of their own cryptocurrency. This is a long and detailed news, but we're gonna go through the most important thing, and maybe we do a video just focus on Libra, the new cryptocurrency. But what is really interesting is they had tried to do everything right. Like a lot of people were worried about how Facebook could have too much control over the cryptocurrency with all the data they already have in the platform. But the reality is this project is owned by other different big organizations such as Visa, Uber, and the group with Andreessen Horowitz, which as well is involved in the project. So that means the control is going to be more decentralized, and it's going to be better for the user to stabilize the value of the actual currency, right? So another important thing is the transactions fees are going to be really low, which is really good because they want to target people that they don't have a bank account. Basically 1.7 million, they say, is estimated. It's a lot of people actually, so they are targeting that, and they want to revolutionize the financial services with this, right? So yeah,
I like that Visa is also supporting this project because it means it's a serious thing, not like Bitcoin or other cryptocurrency that doesn't have such some big support from other businesses. Mm-hmm. And Visa staying there gives a lot of stability to these kind of things. And Facebook can support with a huge amount of technology, brand new investigation in these kind of things.
Exactly. One of the things that the article was mentioning is the benefit that Facebook have so many deals and partnership with businesses, either huge businesses or even a small business, millions of them. What that means they allowed and they achieved that these businesses access the currency is going to create that stability, because right now with Bitcoin or Ethereum or the cryptocurrencies, a lot of businesses, they don't accept them because the value is just a speculation, so it goes up and down. So you need that partnership with businesses to make it work. So let's see, really interesting. 2020 they said something like that, we'll see, but it's really interesting news.
Next piece of news, we've got that IRobot acquires education startup Robotaxis. IRobot is basically a business that sells small robots to kids and to schools so that they can learn about coding and about electronics and robotics. So basically what they do, they have a small robot that has instructions for kids and for schools, teachers and everything on how to program them, on how to use them. And it's very interesting because this is the one that stands out the most out of this kind of robotic startups for kids, because it has many features like reading colors, writing on the whiteboard, multiple teaching functions. And the acquisition of this new company is going to push their technologies to another level. Right now, they're announcing that they're officially launching this kind of small robots, two-wheeled robots, from $200. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's a bit maybe overpriced at the beginning, but we have to say it's really complete. At least it looks like it brings you a lot of different options. So yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Definitely.
Let's move on now to the aerospace race, and more than a race now, it's going to be more a collaboration. And the news for today is that the budget estimated for NASA to go back to the moon, and land is estimated around $30 billion. Now, the interesting thing here is that the annual budget supported by the federal U.S. government is only $20 billion, right? So, yeah, after the cut from Trump, I just said before, that's why they are looking for collaboration with private companies to create that development and co-share of the cost, which is going to facilitate everything. But
let's see if Trump also next year provides a bit more of budget, as he was more involved with this kind of moon landing, with this competition, especially against China now for the space race, a new space race area. So let's see if he puts more budget next year in the incoming years, so that it goes a bit faster.
Let's see, yeah.
The next news comes from more science as NASA, and is about researchers that they've created the first mind control robot arm that works well without surgery. And this is very important because it's groundbreaking their area in brain to computer interface, because until now what you had to do is to have a surgery and implant in your brain to be able to control objects like especially robot arms, big objects, with your mind. And now you can just put like a small helmet, something like that works perfectly, and that you can, like in these guys have tested like moving the arm following a cursor, which is great.
Yeah, we'll put a clip so you can guys see it.
Exactly.
It's very cool.
And they've improved so much in the sensor data, because it's very difficult to intercept the electricity between the neuron cells in the brain with sensors. There is a lot of noise, as you can see. It's like very small like amount of electricity flowing there. So it's great that they've improved so much in sensors now.
Yeah. And we move on to the smartphones market with Huawei. We all know what is happening with the US and their international war that they're having. Talking about the 30 billions that the NASA was estimating for the budget, is actually the same amount of revenue they are calculating that Huawei is going to lose in the next year. So sad news for the company. They said that they're going to reduce the production because obviously the US is a huge market, and it's not only affecting to the US market but globally. So they have to reduce around 40% of the whole production, which is huge. The company said that they are gonna take like around 2 years to recover and to come back some adjustments, but they seem really positive to be able to go and flip the situation. But yeah, it's hard time for the company.
Yeah, the next piece of news is about cameras. Hasselblad has a new medium format camera that is tiny, beautiful, and is gonna change the history, because what they can do until now, cameras have the lenses and the bodies, and now this new camera lets you also insert like the camera sensor in a separate module. So we have the body, camera sensor, and lens. And what they're planning to do with this is basically more focused on giving all the style, using all lenses for your photos. So the big things, like for those vintage lovers, for those that love cameras from the 60s, 70s, now they will be able to use their lenses or their bodies with this new camera. It's going to be very expensive because they're planning between $2,000 and $6,000, but it's very specific, very targeted, very niche for those that love this kind of old-fashioned photos.
Yeah, I think you said it right. It's a really niche like market, but I know there is a lot of like people that have even old lenses, like from family that they were photographers or even passionate of the vintage, right? Because film and some of the old lenses, they have a really special touch, the color, everything,
so personality and everything.
Yeah, good news for the vintage lovers. We will move on to automatic vehicles, and in this case we want to mention Safeai have raised 5 million to develop and deploy like automatic construction vehicles. So we not only see like these automatizations for the mass user, but also for industries like the constructions. And they said they want to improve the security or the safety on the workplace. Obviously they're going to be a change, and also improve the productivity, because actually construction, especially they focusing in the mining, it's a really hard work, right? So it's gonna increase the productivity and the safety. So we see.
I think safety out of all these self-driving cars, self-driving like machines or AI machines, is the most important factor, especially for authorizations, which is great. And I think this week we've seen so many news about self-driving cars, self-driving vans, everything,
Exactly.
Which is great. I guess this is the time of the year that this kind of
it seems like the technology is more established now, and they are implementing it everywhere.
I think this year is going to be the great push for electric cars and for autonomous vehicles.
We're going to see it everywhere.
And related to that, we've got that California has led 2 Chinese startups to offer their Robotaxis to the public. So right now it was mainly a couple of companies that had this authorization, and they were US companies, but bringing new air into California is great, because what those companies are going to do is basically test their taxis that are fully autonomous, but with the condition that are for free. There are test drives for the users that test this kind of service, and also that there is a driver on like controlling the wheels, that just in case something goes wrong. Not like what happened with Uber some years ago, that they killed someone with their self-driving taxi. So let's see if this progress, especially in the law section of self-driving autonomous taxis, that is going to be very important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad they're including other companies, in this case from China, but more companies mean like better product, more quality, more competition, and better for everybody. So yeah, that's good news. We go now to a different market with India, and the company called Bounce has raised $72 million to grow their electric scooter business. The way this bike works is like very similar to any kind of electric scooter. I would say like they are parking on the street, and you with an app you just hire them for the time that you need. There are different models, and what is really interesting is like for a market like India, where everybody is huge, like everybody is driving scooters and bikes. I will say it's like 70% of the vehicle on the streets in the main cities are scooters and bikes. So it's a huge chain, especially when they are saying that the price to hire 1 hour trip is like 15 rupees, which is like which is like you can buy a tea or a coffee for 10 rupees, right? It's like 20 pence. It will be 20 pence, something like that. So that's a huge improvement for the Indian market, and also the electric. So we're they're trying to reduce the emissions into the atmosphere and reduce
it's definitely a mass population's business service, basically, because so cheap and with the objective of reducing so much pollution that is really a problem. Both in China and India. It's a huge problem. And I would say like motorbikes and scooters and all these kind of small vehicles in India are most of the vehicles out there, which is great.
And it's more efficient. 2 wheels is more efficient than 4. So
definitely. And to finish, we've got something from what we love, Tesla, as always, that is turning its showrooms into arcades. So right now, if you have a Tesla, you can go to the car, if it's in parking mode, sit there, put a helmet, put your gloves, and play video games, like driving video games with the real accelerator, with the driver, with everything that you have in your car. Use those hardware parts for playing video games on the console. And they're now making a whole a game store for both driving games. Even they're planning on putting Fallout 76 and many other more games that obviously is going to attract new customers to the market.
Yeah, and the video is really cool. We're going to let you with that to enjoy.
To finish.
And then, see you on the next one.